Chapter 1: The Crash. The storm raged outside, lightning splitting the sky as Dr. Ilara Voss gripped the steering wheel of her speeding car. The windshield wipers struggled against the torrential downpour, the road ahead barely visible. She shouldn't have been driving in this weather, but the emergency call from the research facility had left her no choice. Subject 7 is deteriorating rapidly. We need you here now. Ilara was the lead geneticist at Biogenics Labs, working on a classified project involving synthetic blood substitutes. If Subject 7, a test subject injected with an experimental hemoglobin booster, was failing, the entire program was at risk. A sudden flash of lightning illuminated the road, just in time for her to see the fallen tree. She slammed the brakes. The car hydroplaned, spinning wildly before crashing into the ditch. Pain exploded through her body as the airbag deployed, her vision swimming. Blood trickled down her forehead. She tried to move, but her legs were pinned beneath the crumpled dashboard. No, can't die here. Then, through the haze of rain and pain, a figure approached. A man, tall, broad-shouldered, his dark eyes reflecting an eerie calm. He wrenched the car door open with inhuman strength. "You're hurt," he said, his voice deep, almost melodic. Ilara tried to speak, but darkness swallowed her. Chapter 2. The Miracle Blood. She awoke in a dimly lit cabin, the scent of pine and burning wood filling the air. Her body ached, but the bleeding had stopped. The stranger sat across from her, watching. Who are you?" she croaked. "Kale," he said simply. Ilara touched the bandage on her forehead. "How did you? You lost a lot of blood. I gave you some of mine." She froze. Transfusions required sterile conditions, matching blood types. This made no sense. Then she noticed it. The wound on her arm where he must have injected her was already healing, not just closing, regenerating. "What are you?" she whispered. Kale's expression darkened. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." But Ilara was a scientist. She needed to know. Chapter 3: The Truth. Over the next few days, as the storm trapped them together, Kale revealed the impossible. He wasn't human. Centuries ago, his kind, an ancient near-extinct species, had walked among humans, their blood capable of healing, even granting temporary enhanced abilities. But they had been hunted, driven into hiding. And now his blood was inside her. Ilara's scientific mind reeled. If she could replicate this, it could revolutionize medicine. But Kale warned her. His blood came with a price. "It changes people," he said. "Not just physically. It awakens something." She didn't understand. Not until the symptoms started. Chapter 4. The Transformation. First, it was the nightmares. Vivid, terrifying visions of battles she'd never fought, voices whispering in a language she shouldn't know. Then came the strength. She accidentally crushed a glass in her hand. Her reflexes were faster, her senses sharper. She could hear Kale's heartbeat from across the room. And the hunger. It hit her like a tidal wave. A craving for something she couldn't name. Kale's eyes met hers, grim. "It's starting." Chapter 5: The Hunters. They came at night. Black-clad figures surrounded the cabin, armed with weapons that hummed with strange energy. "They track the blood," Kale growled, pushing Ilara behind him. A gun fired. Not bullets, a dart embedding itself in Kale's shoulder. He roared, his form shifting, his body elongating, claws erupting from his fingers. Ilara screamed, but not from fear. From recognition. Because suddenly she knew them. The hunters. The war. The reason Kale's kind had been wiped out. And worse, She knew she was changing into one of them. Chapter 6. The Choice. In the chaos, Kale fought like a demon, tearing through the hunters. But there were too many. Ilara felt the power surging inside her, the blood rewriting her DNA. She could feel Kale's thoughts, his memories. And she understood the truth. His blood didn't just heal, bonded. She was becoming his genetic counterpart, his mate. The hunters wanted to dissect her, to weaponize what Kale had given her. Kale grabbed her hand. Run, or fight. But choose now. Ilara made her decision. Chapter 7. The Awakening. The power erupted from her in a shockwave. Her bones shifted. Her senses sharpened to an impossible degree. She moved faster than thought, tearing through the hunters with terrifying precision. Kale stared at her in awe. You weren't supposed to adapt this quickly, she finished, her voice layered with something other. She could feel it, the ancient connection between them, the bond forged by his blood. But there was something else. A voice in the back of her mind. Find the others. Epilogue, a new world. Weeks later, the ruins of Biogenics Labs burned. Ilara stood beside Kale, watching the flames. She was no longer just a scientist. She was something more. And the world wasn't ready for what came next. Kale squeezed her hand. Where now? Ilara smiled, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. To find the rest of our kind. Chapter 7. The Awakening expanded. The power that erupted from Ilara was unlike anything she had ever imagined. It wasn't just strength. It was as if her very cells had been rewritten, awakened by Kale's blood. Her vision sharpened to an impossible clarity, the world moving in slow motion as she lunged at the hunters. She moved faster than thought. One hunter fired his weapon, a pulse of blue energy meant to paralyze. Ilara dodged, her body twisting midair before she landed behind him. Without hesitation, she snapped his wrist, disarming him. The man screamed, but she felt no guilt. Only a cold, terrifying certainty. They were the enemy. Kale fought beside her, his form now fully shifted. His limbs elongated, his claws glinting under the moonlight. But even he stared at her in shock. You weren't supposed to awaken this fast, he growled between strikes. Ilara didn't answer. She didn't need to. The knowledge was already inside her, as if Kale's blood had imprinted his memories into her mind. She knew exactly what she was now, and what she was meant to do. Chapter 8. The Bond New Scene. When the last hunter fell, silence descended over the forest. Ilara's breath came in ragged gasps, her body humming with energy. She turned to Kale, really looked at him for the first time since the change. His dark eyes held centuries of pain, of loneliness. And now she understood why. It's not just healing, is it? She whispered. Your blood, it bonds us. Kale's jaw tightened. Yes, my kind were never meant to be alone. Our blood calls to its match. Ilara's chest tightened. And I'm yours. He stepped closer, his clawed hand brushing her cheek. You always were. The moment my blood touched yours, it knew. A shudder ran through her. She could feel him, his emotions, his memories. The wars his people had fought. The hunters who had slaughtered them. And the others, the few like him, still hiding in the shadows of the world. We have to find them, she said. Kale nodded. Before the hunters do. Epilogue. A new world, expanded ending. 3 months later. The ruins of Biogenics Labs smoldered in the distance, a graveyard of twisted metal and broken experiments. Ilara stood at the edge of the wreckage, the wind tugging at her hair. She was different now. Stronger. Fuster. Alive in a way she had never been before. Cale stood beside her, his presence a constant warmth in her mind. They had spent weeks tracking whispers of others like him, fragments of a lost civilization hiding among humans. And they had found one. A woman locked in a government bunker, her golden eyes glowing in the dark. "You're like us," the woman had whispered. Now, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ilara turned to Cale. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" He took her hand, his grip firm. "The hunters won't stop. They'll keep coming for us. For you." Ilara smiled, a fierce, determined thing. "Let them try." Somewhere in the distance a howl echoed, a sound too primal to be human. Cale's lips curled into a fanged grin. "They're waiting for us." Ilara took one last look at the burning lab, the place where her old life had ended. Then together they ran into the night.